on Interstate 75 near Tampa, Florida. 3110, experimental design cell 3-64. Okay, this is Sunday afternoon, as you can see on there at 3:16 p.m. I'm going to move forward with this because we have a thunderstorm which appears to be approaching, and I'm not going to have much time to complete the video. We've already done everything else. You can see that we have a curve which is coming around to the right in the direction we're moving in. We're working this in the southbound lanes. We are probably about a mile north of the interchange with Interstate 4, but we're far enough back to be out of the influence of that as far as any traffic's concerned in the outside lane. As you can see, we've got 3 lanes in each direction. We've got traffic control here. One reason we chose this particular section, or this portion of roadway here, as I scan around, I'll talk about this, is that up to the north of us we had a considerable amount of muck, which was removed in most cases, but we decided to stay away from that in selecting the test section. The ditches have been cut into here, but according to the profiles, we're right about at grade. Okay, starting forward with the walking video with this. One thing to notice here is that the lane is 12 foot wide, but the concrete pavement, a 12-inch thick jointed Portland cement concrete pavement, was placed in a 14-foot wide pass with an 8-foot tied econocrete shoulder. The joints in the shoulder match those of the pavement. The distress types that we've seen have predominantly been transverse cracking. At approximately station 0 plus 40 in the test section. I think, if I recall correctly, I counted a total of 8, many of them at the moderate severity level, which I characterize this. I don't know if you hear the thunder in the background, but I'm talking quickly to get around that. One thing interesting is that each one of these cracks were in the long slabs. This is a staggered joint spacing pavement with, I believe it's 17, 22, 23, 16. Okay, I'll continue forward and show you an example of what I consider to be a high severity transverse crack in a joint up here. I'm feeling a downdraft, so I might have to cut this one short, moving in the direction of the vehicle in which we're storing all of our equipment. I hope that thunder's coming through on here. It appears to be a little bit to the west of us, south, but wind's starting to pick up. What I had of the high severity transverse crack. You can see where it started to spall, particularly in the wheel pads. Located test section 100 feet back from a cross drain. Is up here, as I mentioned, 100 feet beyond Station 5. Let's walk over a rumble strip there. We're in a 1-degree curve here, and it is super elevated, which was one reason why we chose the southbound side as opposed to the northbound. We wanted to keep it where the surface water was draining off to the outside rather than to the inside. You may have noticed on there another transverse crack. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to use this due to the width of the paved lane. As you can see, though, the lane is marked 12 feet, but there is an overlap there going onto the shoulder, and then beyond which is an econocrete shoulder. These transverse cracks, incidentally, extend into the econocrete shoulder and all the way across it. There's also an econocrete base underneath this. This will be drilled, by the way, at a later date. We could not arrange for having the drilling equipment out here at this time. We may not have to do that, though, because we did see where a core had been taken for a thickness check back up near the beginning of the test section. If we can find that information as well as some of the other construction records, then we may be able to get around doing anything on this altogether. Speaking on back, Okay, we located the end of the test section right at 500 feet from the beginning, and as you can see, we've got a little bit, we are crossing a transverse crack right here. I would have preferred to extend it another foot to get, or 18 inches to get beyond the transverse crack, or to cut it short a little bit to stay ahead of it. However, 500 feet, we come right across it. The test section, we have a ball jar lid, a dome lid similar to what we used in Georgia, and with a nail 7 inches long driven through it right at the edge of the Aconacrete shoulder. It's going to be very interesting to see how long this lasts, considering that the grass is growing, it's 12 to 18 inches high here, and it's due to be mowed anytime. And it's a rather loose soil in there. Right at the high severity transverse crack. Let me place something down in there to show just how it is spalled there, give an indication of the width of it. So I've got the ruler placed down there. See there that it's up to around 2 inches wide, maybe even 3 inches wide at the widest in there. This is the only one that I cataloged as being high severity. Most of the rest were moderate, and just about the same number, just maybe 1 or 2 less for most severity. 23804 on Interstate 75 near Tampa.